Hello, how are we? Good. Okay, so I am at my parents' house because I am here to look after my dog basically. She had her teeth cleaned yesterday, so she was put under anaesthetic and had to have a tooth out, bless her. And I have a day off work, so I thought, I could come here and do videos to pass the time. So, and that means you lucky lot get to see the fish tank for the first time in a while. So, what's going on in here? Well, so we have, if you don't enjoy the hum of the fish tank, I apologise, but it's kind of a noise you live with when you have fish, do you know what I mean? So that's the noise of the air stones, not the filter so much. So, sorry if you hear the sound out of just one ear, because the other microphone's this side and I'm going to be turning, but maybe I'll put it here actually. Okay, so, yeah, so let's just start with plantation. So this is my, I think it's hornwort, I believe. You can't actually see it all because, yeah, it's slightly off camera a little bit because the window's there, so you don't want to see the reflection, do you know what I'm saying? Hang on. So yeah, it reminds me of old times because as soon as I started recording, the doorbell went and my dog went mad. It's just like the old days. Okay, so yeah, this here is the hornwort and it has gone completely out of control. It was so much worse than this before. It was like spread out here and hanging all the way down. It looks quite nice though, I really like the look of it. I love all the green and the blue in this tank, and his orange of this guy just makes it all really stand out and look really nice, I think, personally. My mum has been amazing in looking after everybody, because even though I said to her, well, she said, "Oh, clean out the fish while you're here today," and I said, "Yeah, well, I expected to," but she cleaned them out yesterday, so obviously she doesn't mind doing it, otherwise she wouldn't do it, do you know what I mean? But she trims this for me, so that's why it looks actually quite good. I thought before, do you know what I mean? Before it was all brown underneath and getting a bit raggedy, so I just cut that back. This is a rock. Yep, just for them to kind of go in and out of, obviously. So in case you're wondering what all these white spots are, they're snail eggs, and I'm pretty sure when I came here last week there weren't as many as there are today. They just go crazy. There's so many more on this side, I've just noticed as well. And honestly, they are so hard to get off. I don't even want to attempt to scrape them off because I don't want to scratch the glass and possibly break it. I'm part of this Goldfish group on Facebook, okay, because I'm that sad. And someone said nothing to do with snail eggs, but they said their aquarium shattered when they cleaned it out. That is my worst nightmare. I don't know what they did to it to make it shatter, but don't want to be doing that. So okay, so yeah, a few more plants here. This plant, this tall one right here, is doing very well. I feel like I'm doing a weather report. So as you can see, just on in the top, well, right to you, is a really big cloud. Did he? Oh, I thought he saw me for a second. I was like, oh my god, he's not blind. Anyway, so yeah, this plant is doing really, really well, and these two are doing really well as well. I had a phase of buying so many plants. I've spent so much money, and they just all, and all of a sudden these guys are doing really well because I'm putting liquid fertilizer in. I believe that's why they're doing so well. So let's go through what we do here. Interrupted again by the dog. I feel like this is going to happen quite a lot. Anyway, so I have been using, and I'll show you the baby tank possibly in a sec. Well, not literally a sec, but so this is Easy Carbo. This is liquid carbon, used once a week in a small dose. Literally put, I don't know if you can see where that black dot is, just where my finger is basically, in once a week to help them grow. Very important not to overdose. I've literally been talking for ages and only just noticed that my audio thingy ran out of space. Anyway, liquid carbon, don't overdose, because, you know, your fish breathe in oxygen. You don't want to have loads of carbon in there, do you? Anyway, where was I? I don't think... Did I say this? Got some iron and potassium, however. Haven't used this in a while because we've got Profito instead, which is a professional plant fertilizer. So it's basically the same kind of thing. It creates superior plant growth, and every single day, if my mum remembers, I don't know, I always used to forget when I lived here, to be fair, fill this to the brim, stick it in, and yeah, it really does do wonders for the plants. The only thing annoys me is obviously there's a lot of algae on them, but can't win all the battles, you know. Right. And this goes in every time you change the water. This is Cetrin Prime, or anything that removes chlorine or chloramine, so tap safe. I like this though because it also detoxifies ammonia, nitrite and nitrate. A bit more expensive, but I mean, you don't have fish because it's a cheap hobby, you know. So to tie the plants down, well, the two smaller plants are stuck, actually super glued, just normal super glue, to rocks, and then this video is going to have to be edited within an inch of its life because so many disturbances. Anyway, yeah, they're super glued with stones, then tied with some fishing wire. And yeah, just fishing wire, you know. And these are ceramic things. So this plant sort of started floating away, and it's got really long roots, so just got two of them, put the roots through, tied it up, boom, bing, whatever that means. And they were 5p each, which was pretty good. Okay, can't remember the website actually. I want to say All Pond Solutions, but I don't think it was. Anyway. I just sat here speaking about the fish for ages and obviously wasn't recording. So, here we go again. Okay. While he's on his own, this is the daddy, Beano. I've said before, if you've seen videos, he is... I suspect he's blind. I mean, all the signs point to him being blind. He is a normal, common, I believe, goldfish. They should usually be in a pond, and I think that's the reason he is quite small for a common goldfish, really, and possibly blind, because years ago, like 10 years ago actually, I've had him for 10, nearly 11 years, or is it 10 years this year? When did I put a thing on Twitter? That was last year, wasn't it? Wow. Was it? Jesus. Okay, anyway, so like 11 years we've had him. He used to live in a 45-litre tank with 4 other goldfish. They're sick. Because pet shop said it's fine. And I just want to put a warning out there right now. if you're wanting goldfish or any fish really, please do your research, but particularly with goldfish, right? I will explain in case you care. So, single-tailed goldfish, which I say unfortunately because really they shouldn't be kept in a tank, but unfortunately they are all single-tailed, okay, which means they have one tail. No shit, right? Now you can get double-tailed goldfish, fancy or more sort of fancy goldfish, and they actually have two tails that come out, symmetrical to each other, but there are two of them. These ones are very slow moving, they usually don't grow so big, they can stay in a tank, a big tank, but a tank. So this would be suitable for probably, well, they say 100 litres for one fish, and then 40 litres for every additional fish. That's for double-tailed goldfish, okay? So this is 350 litres. So if anyone fancies doing maths, I'm not American, be my guest at how many fancies I could have in here. But anyway, and they say for single-tailed, which these fellas are, they should be in a pond, or at least very, very minimum a 6 foot long tank. It's more about the length, so their swimming space, than it is about up here. So those cylindrical tanks, stupid. Anyway, column tanks is what I mean, you know. So anyway, so these two here are the babies. They spend most of their time following each other around or whatever, which is cute. All of these, by the way, are snail eggs. They're very hard to scrape off. Don't even bother trying. Scratch the hell out of your glass. Just think of it as a nice decoration. So yeah, I have 3 nearite snails in there. I've had them for ages now. They're flourishing. At least I think I still have 3. I've seen 1. Yeah. And yeah, they're doing really well, and they just lay eggs everywhere, but they don't hatch because they only hatch in salt water, or no, brackish water, so it's kind of like salt water but not as salty, I think. Anyway, so yeah, do you remember their mother? She was orange and big, and she was a shabunkin. Beautiful, lovely darling. Rest in peace. He's definitely got his colouring from her, although I don't know if that's how fish actually work. I think they just get whatever colours. I don't know if they get it off their parents, really. So yeah, let's just say they do. He's like her, same colour as the dad. Simple. Although this guy, the white one, has 2 spots on the eye and like on the head area. Plain from this side, turns around and he's got 2, there you go, 2 random spots, so I think is really quite cool. At first I was like, what the is that? And then it was all fine. Yeah, so anyway, I would love to get a pond here at my parents' house, but it's not really going so well, like with the whole trying to convince them thing. They have a big garden, you know what I mean, like why not? My mum's like, nah, they're fine. And I think that is the attitude of a lot of people. They look fine, they don't look like they take up a lot of space in the tank, but would you be happy to live basically in a box where you like run from one side or walk from one side? It's like lockdown, okay? Everyone's been going crazy. That's kind of what it's like for them, really, isn't it? You know, if they haven't got big enough space to move around, which they haven't really, so I feel like I'm kind of fish abusing, but I'm going to give it until next summer, because you can only really put them in a pond in summer, otherwise it's like a massive shock to the system, going from a warm-ish environment to freezing cold. Obviously you don't just chuck them in, you do acclimatise over time, but still. Anyway, and I'm going to sneeze. As I was saying, yeah, about the pet store thing, right? Do your research. you go into, I'm going to name and shame, Pets at Home, for example. The tanks are about this big. For example, I got told by them, have 5 goldfish in there, it's fine. That's why he has problems. That's why he can't see. That's why he's stunted, okay? Because of them. I should have done my research, but I was young, naive, and believed the pet store, which is not a stupid thing, because they should know what they're talking about. But no, please don't. And also, what's the word? Cycling a tank. So you do a fishless cycle. How I cycled this one, I kept adding pure ammonia. I don't think it's in here. Oh no, that's not how I cycled this one. No, it's not. I didn't cycle it because I just used filter media from my old filter. No, I cycled the baby tank in the office, which I'll show you soon. I cycled that tank before I put the babies in there, obviously. I was putting pure ammonia in there, just kept doing, you know, seeing whatever, running the filter, and yeah, eventually, once you get a nitrite reading, I believe, that's when you know your tank is getting there, or it is there. So then you do a water change to get rid of the nitrite, and then once you start getting nitrates and stuff, that's also good, but you don't want them to be too high. This tank is never free of nitrates because it's just not, you know. But anyway, so please just do your research. I recommend practicalfishkeeping.com or .co.uk, is it maybe? Or join the Goldfish group on Facebook. I think it's just called Goldfish Keepers UK. There are some groups on there which are shite. Don't join them. So, god damn it, I'm going on, aren't I? So yeah, I mean, I can tell this tank isn't really big enough just by how fast they move. And I think they're all boys, okay, so this is what I explained already. Boys have an innie, girls have an outie, okay? So I don't know the anatomy, but the bum fin, the fin that is on their bums, okay, just before you get to that, going from their head to their bum, is a little circle, and if it's in, goes in, they're boys. If it sticks out slightly, they're female. I think they're all boys. So if you can think of names for these two, that'd be fab. Thanks. I feel like I want him to be called Brutus though, because he just seems a bit of a chunk. This one is definitely getting more of a big sort of fantail, and this one's more like his pup. Although his tail is actually a bit more fanny. Fanny. I don't want Beano to go into a pond though because of his blindness. I'd really worry about how he'd get his food and things like that, because he doesn't know. Do you know what I mean? He can't see, so how is he supposed to know what he's getting? So I do need to order some more Rapashi, actually. That's good stuff, but it went out of date. So this is what they get fed on. I don't like flakes, okay? I don't like anything. I'm quite picky actually when it comes to their food. I don't like anything that floats, okay? That's just swim bladder issues written all over it. Common goldfish and single-tailed goldfish aren't too prone to swim bladder, really. It's only the sort of really sort of double-tailed fancy varieties that are very... They're not... You know, like how some dogs, like pugs and things, have breathing problems because they're inbred or whatever, they're so bred to be wrong. That's what fancy goldfish are, basically. They're not supposed to be like that, you know. It's quite cruel, really. Yeah, so they do have a lot of problems. These guys not so much though. But I do remember, I'm sure their mother years ago in their old tank had issues, but I think that is just because the tank was too small. But anyway, I prefer sinking pellets, and I'd recommend sinking to anybody, okay? I wouldn't get floating. These sink straight away. So actually it does say these meet the specific needs of fancy goldfish such as rounders, lineheads, ryoukins, etc. Because ensure high digestibility and low waste levels. I'm just going to pop a little bit in there so you can have a little look. I chuck it in as hard as possible. See, look, he doesn't know what's going on, okay? So people say to me, how do you know he's blind? Just look at him. Just look. See, they swim, look, straight to it, alright? He's like, where the hell is it? I want my food. I used to have to, when he was smaller, in the smaller tank, the 125 litre tank, I had to throw it onto the rock. That was really difficult. And he'd eat it off the rock. He never used to sift through the sand or go to the bottom and eat, and suddenly he just started doing it like 2 years ago, which was really random. A lot easier for me though, I'll tell you that. So where the Loaches are still here, still the two guys at the back, they don't do well on their own, typically in groups of 3. I did have 3, 1 died, so now I only have 2, but definitely don't have one on its own. Don't have goldfish on their own either. Apparently they're very sociable creatures, and I know they are, because I see them play together and things. They're not typically aggressive with each other, you know, they just play. Like, if you have 2 cats, they play. Sometimes they can be mean to each other, though, can't they? But, oh, they're eating over here and I'm in the way. But yeah, so if let's just say, okay, if I was to put these 2 guys in a pond, I would get maybe a couple more fish to go in here, but double-tailed fancy varieties. And I will just say, disclaimer, you shouldn't have single-tailed and double-tailed fish together, because double-tailed fish are very slow and they will get out-competed for food by these guys. Although it's weird that people say that, because look how this guy is just not even bothering about the food anymore. And neither's he, really. A fancy goldfish could easily get in there, realistically, but that's what they say. But I figure Beano isn't going to be any bother to a fancy fish. He's not fast, he doesn't dart about. Every now and then he kind of goes right to the top real quick and makes a plopping sound and then spirals down. It's really bizarre. Anyway, so I think 2 slow-moving, double-tailed fancy varieties would be quite a nice accompaniment to Beano, because he's blind, so he doesn't really know what's going on anyway. So yeah, oh, it's Loaches, you know, can you see him? Don't know if you can. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say, really. It's just amazing how it's gone from one day my mum getting me fish for Christmas. Well, she got me a tank for Christmas one year when I was 17 or 18, I can't remember. And then all of a sudden it turns into this. I don't think they expected it. Gutted. And this Beano was actually supposed to be for my brother, because they had goldfish and one died and they wanted it, and we were going to the pet store anyway to get me some fish. So we got him, but then we put, obviously, him in our tank, and that's just where he stayed. It's a very expensive hobby, and you need to bear that in mind as well before you go rush out. And for the love of all that is holy, goldfish do not make good first pets, okay? They are not for your children. They don't make good first pets, yeah? They take work, and if you're not prepared to get a huge tank, or do weekly water changes, or treat any diseases that pop up, or whatever, or cycle a tank for like 8 weeks or however long it takes, then just don't bother, okay? Just don't bother. This tank, brand new, would have cost £700. I got it on Gumtree for like £350. The filter alone, I think I've showed it off before, cost £200. I mean, it's not cheap. Okay. Oh, there's loads of food in the plant. Okay, now I have fish water hands. Oh, poor Beano. Sorry, he'll find his way. He's actually been blind for like 4 years or something stupid, so he's done pretty well. Right, so I think that's all I wanted to say about them. Let's move on to the babies, okay? Now you will be shocked. Bear in mind the fish I'm about to show you are exactly the same age as these guys because they're from the same set of eggs, if you like, okay? So, sorry, so sorry. This is the baby tank in all its glory. I'll get out of the way for a sec. Sorry it's not long, I don't know why. So, this is one of the guys, okay? Absolutely tiny compared to their siblings, and the other guys here. I think I'll have to get a close-up shot, won't I? So, this is one of them. And I've opened the door, so you can probably hear water from the fountain outside. So this is one of the guys, okay? Oop. Very tiny. And yeah, I mean, you think he's tiny, right? Wait till you see this guy. And he's got a dodgy fin. Can you focus on him, please? Look at him. He's so cool, though. Look at him. Oh, he's scared of my finger. His fin on this side, if you can tell, is just like one straight bone almost. The other side's normal. See? That side's normal. Bless his heart. He's this little sort of, what do you call that? Nemo. I was actually going to say Dory. That's not the one. So he's sort of a bit unique in his way, isn't he? But I don't understand how. Oh yeah, I've got plants in here, by the way. Why is it all on the wonky donkey? Okay, well, whatever. I'm now going to put another airline tube in with an air stone on the end because it is very hot in this water. Yeah, because they do say that in hotter water the oxygen isn't as good in there. So I have one already set up actually. Right, I don't know if this will reach though, probably won't. I'm scared of there being spiders down there as well. See, look how small they are compared to the tank. It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Oh. Okay. Let's just try this. Right. Am I going to be able to actually... Oh, well, I've just realised I can't actually see the end of the thing, so that's really good. Hang on. Oh my god, that's sticking right out for me. Lovely. Oh, it's just that little bit too short, I think. Sasha, what am I going to do? Right, okay. Right, so I just realised I'm being an idiot and I have to put this on the other end of it, don't I? There's a small bit here. Always good to have spare these. Right. I'm just going to end this video, to be honest, because I can't do it. So thanks for watching. Bye.